Where did sin come from? If God created everything, did God also create sin? And if God is perfectly holy, how did evil enter into His creation? To understand the human condition, we first have to understand the origin of sin. The Bible teaches that sin is the great problem in the world. Every war, every broken relationship, every injustice, and every death, all of it traces back to one reality: sin. But where did it begin? Did God create it, or did it begin somewhere else? First of all, God is not the author of sin. The Bible is absolutely clear about this. God is perfectly holy. Job 34 verse 10 says, "Far be it from God that He should do wickedness." And James 1 verse 13 tells us, God cannot be tempted with evil, and He Himself tempts no one. There is no evil in God. He does not produce sin, He does not encourage sin, and He never delights in sin. In fact, the Bible repeatedly says that God hates sin. This is exactly why God sent Jesus Christ into the world. Matthew 1 verse 21 says, He will save His people from their sins. And John 1 verse 29 calls Jesus the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. So the origin of sin cannot be traced back to God. If God did not create sin, then where did it begin? That's why we see sin began in the angelic world. Before sin entered the human race, it appeared in the angelic realm. The Bible teaches that Satan was originally one of God's angels, but something happened. Passages like Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28 describe the fall of Satan. But what caused this fall? Pride. Ezekiel 28 verse 17 says, Your heart was proud because of your beauty. Satan became proud and rebelled against God. Instead of worshipping the Creator, he wanted to exalt himself. Because of his rebellion, Satan fell, and with him many other angels fell as well. Jesus later said in John 8 verse 44 that the devil is a liar and the father of lies. The Bible even says in 1 John 3 verse 8, the devil has been sinning from the beginning. This shows us something very important. Sin began in Satan himself, but it did not stay there. Sin entered humanity through Adam. Although sin began with Satan, it entered the human race through Adam. In the Garden of Eden, God created mankind good and upright, but God also gave Adam a command. Adam chose to disobey God, and that single act of rebellion changed human history forever. Romans 5 verse 12 explains it like this: Therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and death through sin, and so death spread to all men because all sinned. Adam was not just an individual. He was the representative head of the human race. When Adam fell, humanity fell. And because of that, every human being is now born with a sinful nature. Psalms 51 verse 5 says, Surely I was sinful at birth. Sin is not only something we do, it is something that has corrupted our entire nature. That is why the world is the way it is. But we also see God allowed the fall, but He did not cause it. Now here is the big question. Did the fall of Satan and Adam surprise God? The answer is no. Nothing happens outside of God's sovereignty. Yet the Bible is equally clear that God is not the author of sin. Instead, God allowed the fall to take place within His sovereign plan. Isaiah 46 verse 10 says, My counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purpose. God remains completely holy, But even the fall of mankind did not escape His eternal plan. And through that plan, God would eventually reveal something greater, His grace through Jesus Christ. So when we ask the question, where did sin come from? The Bible gives a clear answer. God did not create sin. Sin first appeared in Satan through pride. It entered the human race through Adam. And although God allowed it within His sovereign plan, He Himself is perfectly holy and never the author of sin. But this raises another important question. If sin began with Satan and entered the world through Adam, how did it spread to the rest of humanity? Why does every human being struggle with sin? And why does the Bible say that all people are sinners? And how did sin come to affect the entire human race? Well, that is exactly what we will explore in part 2, the spread of sin.